What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XCN OnyxCoin today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. Okay, here we are. Here we are at about 1.2 cents now, dropping a little bit down 5% on the day, about 5%, not completely 5%. 7 hours, 47 minutes left on this, the 18th of March. We are slowly, not rapidly, slowly dropping down. I wonder if we're back below. I like to check in with this. Let's see. Check in with this trend line here from that high. Coming all the way down, right? Something like this. That's basically the trend right there. All these highs coming in line. We're still above it. We're still above it, man. We are just slowly dropping. At this point, I'm convinced it's just going to be a slow descent into madness until we finally hit our target areas. And it might be the very end of March that we do that at this rate, man, because that's how we've been moving this whole time. It's been very slow. And now that we're up above this line, I'm not expecting that we necessarily do anything different other than we're on the top side instead of the bottom side of this line. It's completely possible that we could drop back below. And in fact, I would encourage that. I think that we should get below this line. Let's go. Let's break through it. Let's just rip it off like a Band-Aid and be done with this, right? But depends, I suppose. It really does depend. One way or another, we're going to go down below 1 cent. I think that we'll see prices around 0.009 or even 0.00884, something like that. Let's see. Let's get those fibs on here. I think it's 844 actually. Yeah. Interesting. Maybe it's because I normally do it on crypto or on Coinbase, not on the crypto chart, but 0.0084 to 0.0095. I'm thinking somewhere right in the middle there, probably closer to 0.009 or just below there. So nothing too crazy, but a little bit more downside to go is what I would anticipate, right? If we're looking at this price action here from the current price going on down there, that would result in a move that's over 20% to the downside. It wouldn't surprise me at all if we saw something like that, right? It really wouldn't. We could go lower. Today I've been flirting with the idea a little bit more that the average coin, instead of dropping 20 to 30%, they might drop like 30 to 40%. And if you are to drop 30 to 40% on OnyxCoin, that is 0.084 at a minimum to potentially something that's at 0.073. Maybe even 0.067, something like that could happen. I don't think that we go that low. To me, it wouldn't make that much sense, right? Let's put some lines down here and just show you what I'm talking about, right? I'm only discussing it because it's a possibility, not because it's a probability. Possibilities are good to consider. That way you're prepared for them if and when they happen, or at least more prepared for them than if you did not consider them at all, right? We're going to put some lines there. We could stop at 0.09525. I just don't think we do. I think that we do go a little bit below there, but I could be wrong on that, right? I'm just going to put lines at all these areas. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take a walk through time here. We're going to connect the dots. The first two lines, right, 0.009 to 0.00844, we found support here. On a closing basis, on a wicking basis, we found support. The next two lines, the lower lines, the 1.886 to the 2.272, they're not really significant, right? There's no significance here. We keep going back in time, taking a stroll through time, and we're going, and we keep going, and we're going to go even more until we keep going all the freaking way. Oh my goodness. I might have to just zoom it out. Oh, by the time we get there, though, we're already there. All right. Yeah. It's possible. And I like that 0.076, 0.077 area more than this line, because at least there we're finding support at the lows here. But even then, these lower two lines seem a bit out of touch, in my opinion. Okay, they seem a bit out of touch. Either that, or we're out of touch, and XCN is dropping below, all the way down below half a cent, and the haters were right all along. But I don't think that's going to happen, guys. I don't think so. Even then, that's a great buying opportunity, but I don't think that's going to happen. If we do go down to the golden ratio, it's very common that if you break the golden ratio here, right? I'm gonna get rid of these white lines now so that we can see. It's very common that if you break below the golden ratio, you don't stop until the 1.886. If you break below the 200, it's common that you don't stop until the 2.272, and often then you still go a little bit below the 2.272. So these lines don't really make as much sense as these two lines did that we had above, it's very likely that we do hold the golden ratio for support, which again is at the base of the land of the rising sun here, okay? 0084 I think will hold, 009 will also hold, somewhere in that area. I shouldn't say will also hold, has a good chance of holding as well. And it just depends at the rate of growth, right? Or the rate of decay. Are we going to continue to slowly decay down? And if so, it will probably be, you know, the 27th, the 25th, somewhere in that time frame that we're down in these areas. Maybe even the very end of March. I mean, hell, guys, let's just keep drawing this line. Let's see what that would look like. Talking about the downside, something like that, right? To get to these levels, that would be on the 26th, 27th of March right there. To get to that level, that'd be the 31st of March, and at the very end of the day, it could happen. It could take 2 more weeks, you guys, before we complete this move to the downside. But I don't think it will. If we look at how XCN interacts with both its peaks and its lows, its low peaks, its high peaks, it's there. It's eruptive. It's even to the downside eruptive, right? At least the lows are. When here it was kind of boring, and then we moved up, but the low was here, right? Low here, low there, low there. They're all fine points, and you see this kind of pick up in pace for the downside to happen. Okay. I'm trying to think here. What was I just going to say? Again, I don't think that we're going to go below 0084 because that's the land that's the end, that's the bottom end. Why can't I talk? The bottom levels of this zone over here, okay, in the land of the rising sun. The 4-hour RSI does look bearishly postured. We are not in the oversold zone yet, but we've seen this before where we reject the 60 and actually maybe down over here. We find support at the oversold zone, come back up to the 40 and then go down. We did that here and then we came back up. Let's compare these two areas and just see what we're doing here. Okay. We'll compare that and just look at it here. So this area here, slowly moving down, slowly on this kind of like slow trend down, and then quick drop at the very end of it, quick drop. And that drop happened, if you notice, if this was the low that we're assuming was the low to hold, or even that low there, that drop through the low was rather abrupt. Very brief, it didn't last long, but rather abrupt, right? This one over here, if we look at this one right here, our low at that point was right here. Okay, I'm going to delete the fib so there's not as much noise. The low is right here. At this point of the RSI, when we bounced off the oversold zone, we were moving sideways, slowly moving down, and then boom, quick drop down, back tested it for resistance, and further drop down. Overall, how much of a drop was that from the point before we dropped? That was an overall 26% drop. This is much like what I would anticipate happens now, you guys. This, not so much, right? This was like 9%. If we drop 9%, cool. I'm fine with that. You know, that's fine. I probably won't buy there because I would expect that it goes lower. But hell, if it goes up, even if I'm wrong and it doesn't go lower, I'm fine with that as well. Please, OnyxCoin, please let me be wrong. I would love to be wrong because if I am, that's just better for me, honestly, and better for all of you. I know it is, but likely I think that we see something more on the lines of what we saw back here, where we do drop all the way through. Now pay attention to this, right? Because again, what we did was essentially the same things that we're doing here, right? We're bouncing off the oversold zone. Bouncing off the oversold zone here, you might go up to the 40. What happened in that time that you bounced off the oversold zone and went up to the 40? That was this. You just basically returned to the highs. So if OnyxCoin moves up, you're at 1.2 cents essentially. You're at 0.012 right now essentially. A move up to about 0.013. 0.0129, somewhere in that area might be what we do. Confirm resistance at this area of resistance, confirm resistance at this area of prior support, and then continue to move down, right? We might see something like that. Or if we don't bounce off the oversold zone, if we just keep dipping into it, then maybe we're beginning that final move down right now. The sooner the better, in my opinion. But the way that this 4 hour looks is it's going to be likely a matter of days, not a matter of weeks. Whenever we do see this this next move to the downside happen, okay? And I do expect it to be something not of a straight line. It can be of a straight line, but I think that really what we're going to see is something like this, where you break through, you back test for prior resistance, maybe right here at this resistance point where you, or prior support area where you close on a 4 hour basis. And then if you were to break through actually today or tomorrow, like very soon, and see something like this, you'd also back test your trend line for resistance again, and probably at that point begin your final move down. I don't expect it to just be a straight line down. If it is, good, that's better. It's just get it over with, do it. But if it is a little volatile, which I think is to be more expected, something like this could be at play. I'm also curious, let's just see, does that line, that white line, does that come in line with the 886 here? Low to high. It's kind of around there. But yeah, something like that is kind of what I'm expecting to happen. A little bit of downside, quick abrupt move to the downside, might flush these lows out. You might still hold this low and then back test this area for resistance and continue your final move down to about 9.5 or 0.0095 to 0.0084. After that's done, after that's all said and done, we have a lot of work to do still, okay? We're not done. We're not out of the woods yet. We have to validate, even though we are, and at least I am, very convinced and I have strong conviction that we are going to go to the upside and see dramatically higher prices. I really do believe that we're going to see 20 cents and above. 20 cents, to me, 19 cents is laughable at this point. We still have a lot of work to do, okay? With the 2618 going below the 1618, that's not common. Okay, most of the time you do hold the 1618. It's not common to go below there. So if we do, and I don't think that we'll go below the 1414. And what I would look for on a weekly basis, just from this aspect alone of it's not common going below the 1618 after rejecting your 2618, unless you're like done with your move, which I don't think we are. I think if we were done with this move, we would have dropped a lot more already. But who knows? Anything can happen for any reason. We could just continue a slow descent into oblivion throughout the whole existence of this thing's life and just keep going down. That can happen, but I doubt that's going to happen. What I want to see on a weekly basis is that we close above 1.09 cents, 0.010923. If we can close above there on a weekly basis, that's good. If we close below there, it's not ideal, but it's also not like terrible. It just depends on how this thing wants to drop. It'd be nice if we just got this over with this week. We do have hidden bullish divergence on the weekly time frame, and a drop down like that, and then you pull back up and close up above this line. That would give us reasons to bounce off the 50 and just look really good. What we need to see after we find our low, enough talking about what it might look like when we go to the downside. What we need to see is we need to get back above the 1886 here, which is at about 1.6 cents. Even then, it's not completely convincing because if we take the relative fibs, right, the 382 is at 1.9 cents. I think that 1.9 cents is very encouraging, but what we don't want to see is that you reject off of the 1886 and you come back down to the golden ratio. That's not what we want to see. I mean, it could happen that you get some kind of double bottom, you know, that could happen, and I suppose it's fine, but I don't want to see that. Generally speaking, breaking through the golden ratio, coming back up, finding resistance on the 1886, and then coming back down here, you likely will continue going down. So we don't want to see that. We want to break above 1.62 cents. To validate this low, I think we need to get above 1.9 cents. We need to close above there, okay? And that'll be because from our high to low, that's going to be a relative 382 area. It'll be a little bit below there at that point, but that's fine. And then really to get excited for new highs relative to this and virtually new all-time highs as well, once we get above about 3 cents. I wouldn't say the 2272 exactly. It's more of an area, not a precise line. Sometimes it is. Every chart's different, but once we get above about 2.9 cents, 3 cents itself, that's whenever it's time to start getting excited for these higher targets that will likely take us around 20 cents and above. I'm thinking 20 to 26 cents is very doable. Even above 30 cents is possible. It just depends on what's going on here. I don't know why, but I think that there's a troll who's making new accounts and they're spreading FUD in the comments. They're saying either that or there's just a bunch of people who are misled maybe by their lack of knowledge to begin with, and that's fine if it is. I'm not trying to make fun of you. I'm just saying, you know, to the people that are saying that XCN has low volume, you guys, it's got lower volume now. I don't know why that just happened. It's got lower volume now than it has throughout its whole kind of drop, right? The volume is coming down. It is at low points here. It's below average volume. Absolutely it is. But the volume is still at 7.7% of its market cap value. Now that's not crazy. That's not tremendous volume, but anything above like 5 to 8%, that's desirable in a 24-hour period. And we're right on the upper ends of that toward that 8% area. This is not, it's not like crazy good volume, but it's not low volume. There's not no volume in this. Whoever's out there saying that there's no volume in XCN, you should look at most of the market, right? They've got no volume. They've got like 2% or less of their 24-hour of their market cap in a 24-hour basis, right? So I don't know if there's just a bunch of people who are misunderstanding, who don't know what they're talking about, or if it's just one troll creating a bunch of different accounts day after day and saying the same thing. Because at first I had that thought, because I'm like, this seems very similar to a message that I've seen, but I think it might be, because it's as if like new people, new accounts, they're word for word saying the exact same thing, or maybe they're all saying the same thing because of herd mentality, and that could be the case too. But I'm just saying, if anybody out there is worried that there's low volume on XCN, I mean, yeah, it's lower volume than it's been but it's not bad. It's actually decent volume still, to be completely fair. And I expect we'll probably get a lot of volume in at these lows. And as we move up, we don't even need to see stupendous volume, right? We could see volume. Let me just go put this all the way over here. We could see volume that is dramatically lower, something that's like on these levels here, just above this histogram here, as we're moving up. We don't need crazy volume really until we're looking to break out. That's when we want to see volume come back in. And even then, it doesn't even have to be at these levels. These levels were dramatically higher than what the market cap was. It was just crazy, crazy stuff. You know, I think Justin Sun might have been onto something whenever he said that there was manipulated efforts here and they were leveraging the price themselves. I wouldn't be surprised because that was intense volume, and I've seen it happen with a few coins. But if anybody's hearing that and they're thinking XCN was manipulated, that means it's going to zero. You guys, Bitcoin's manipulated. The US dollar's manipulated. Bitcoin's the top dog in crypto, and the US dollar is the top dog in fiat currency. Manipulation is a part of the game sometimes, you know. It's not that it's a driving force in success, but it doesn't mean that it's a driving force in descent either, you know. So don't be worried about that. Don't be concerned about the volume, and just really prepare yourselves for what I think will be the final move down. 20 to 30% of a move down is what I'm expecting, probably somewhere right in between. I've got nothing else for you guys. The land of the rising sun will hold us up. We will begin to rise afterwards, and I'm expecting that we will see a rapid recovery in a matter of weeks. April's going to be a good month. We were thinking March was going to be a good month. We were hoping February was going to be a good month, but as we keep moving down, as crypto keeps being boring, and as these tariffs seem to be ramping up, we just have to endure. We just have to endure, my friends. This is not a bad phase of consolidation, right? It really is not. It's an absolutely perfect looking bull flag. It is perfect. If anybody's bearish on this, you probably don't know technical analysis. I would bet if I showed some dude who's 60 or 80 and he's been doing technical analysis longer than I've been born, longer than I've been alive, I bet if I showed him this and I didn't tell him it was a crypto, he'd be like, dude, good job. This is a nice one. Let's get in on this because that thing's about to rip. It's beautiful. It's perfect. I got nothing else for you guys. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all for being here. Just because it looks good doesn't mean it has to perform well, but that is my expectation. I think that it will, and it's my biggest bag. So I'm not just saying empty words here. It literally is my biggest bag. So I got nothing else for you guys. Bye bye.